Also, I forgot to say my Saab fact, which is that Kurt Vonnegut used to be a Saab dealer.
Sorry, have we forgot the Saab fact?
Welcome to Saab. It's the Saab fact.
It's the Saab one. This is what we're reacting to, that like John Whittingdale directive that British media needs to be distinctively British by producing a Saab fact at the beginning of every episode.
That's right.
Like we have
the
since
most
all
Alan
of
Partridge
them
thing you can do
for the entire run of the show. It's just gotten cut off from the beginning of the recording until this very moment. Milo, please do the inaugural. What do I mean? The
Weekly.
400th somewhat Saab fact that we've done on this show.
The listeners of this show deserve to know that Kurt Vonnegut used to run a Saab dealership before he was a successful rider.
Yeah. And then one day...
And he said that they were terrible cars. He's on record as saying this.
Well, that's why he pivoted to writing.
Yeah. Of course, now that we have to do entirely British podcasts, we're going to have to move into rover facts. So, your inaugural rover fact, my dad used to drive a Rover SD1 Grand Vitesse.
Ooh,
Nice.
that's a good rover.
I don't know what the fuck that is.
Alice's
It sounds
dad,
fancy,
Alan
though.
Partridge.
Yeah, I mean, with the special trim, drove it like an absolute madman too.
You get in the best British tradition.
Welcome back to TF, the free episode. It is Riley and Alice and Milo, and we are joined by Nick and Ciaran from Corner Spaeti. Nick and Ciaran, how's it going?
Oh, great! I'm just living my best life in the capital city of Germany, baby. That's right, Duisburg.
Capital City. The Big Apple, baby.
That's right.
We're number one. We're number eins.
So there are a couple... We're going to talk a little bit about the German elections. The most exciting show in the world.
Oh, everyone's talking about it.
Hey,
baby.
We are. Like,
You joke.
you joke, but I've been surrounded by this all day for the past 2 weeks now.
Oh, yeah.
A big question is being put before the German electorate. Should it be legal to do laundry at 6 p.m. on a Sunday?
Oh God, this reminds me. Like, wait, did I tell this story last time that we were on the show? The last time that you were in Berlin, Milo. Like the most German shit ever. So Milo was staying with Ciaran, and Milo had a comedy show. And I walked him back to Ciaran's place, grabbed a bite to eat or some shit.
Nick's a gentleman.
That's the point
of the story.
Walk Milo to the door,
we had a little
expect
kiss,
anything.
a chaste
exactly.
kiss.
Sticking around, trying to get invited back up to Milo's Airbnb for coffee.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
right.
Yeah.
But my dad, Ciaran, was not letting me lose my virginity to someone like Nick.
Ciaran's like 9 square meter room that Milo was staying in. Yes. And this dude just like comes down like while we're going to open the door and then just like locks the door right in front of us.
Yeah.
And then I then he unlocks it, opens it, and I just have like a, yelling fit with him for about 2 minutes. He just keeps yelling like, it's in my contract. At 8:00, I have to lock the door. Creating like a massive fire hazard and shit for everyone else. And I'm just like yelling at him, being like, that makes no fucking sense. Like, why would you do this and that and that? And he then insisted that then
he's a very nice man to me. He is a Yugoslav refugee. He's not familiar with the concept of fires. They just don't have fires there. So you can just lock the front door of your building and it's fine.
Yeah, but it was the funniest shit because he, what is assimilation if not following your rental contract to the absolute T, that at 8:00 every night you will lock the door, creating a fire hazard for the 40 people who live in your building.
The Germans having like a parachute visa system for former members of the Ustase. Like, it's the least we can do.
But before we get into more of the German stuff, though, there are a couple of pieces of British news. Number one, you'll have seen there was a reshuffle recently. Boring. Matt Hancock not re-elevated to a top spot. Who cares?
I hate to see it. Although the second best thing happened, which was that Liz Truss was made Foreign Secretary.
Opening up new pork markets.
Oh, yeah. The absolute tungsten rod from low orbit straight into Dominic Raab's huge head, which is being replaced by Liz Truss. Well, imagine Someone not only saying offhandedly, even Liz Truss could do this better than you, but actually being so desperate that they were like, let's give it a try.
And of course, Gavin Williamson is out and was seen crying on the phone to his mum in public, which is very pleasant.
Very cool.
Awesome.
And Nadine Dorris is DCMS.
Oh, yeah, we have like a pulp novelist now in charge of culture. Which is
Awesome.
cool.
Sick.
Yeah, we're gonna have to get Nish in and subject him to one of her
fuck.
books.
Oh, God.
Surely Gavin Williamson's too old to be crying on the phone to his mum. Surely you've got to be at least crying on the phone to your wife. Come
Who's
on, man.
crying
You're
on
like,
the
what,
phone to
50 years
someone?
old?
I half remembered the most
No, but the story
embarrassing
said it was his mum. I read that too. They were saying it was his mum.
British media would never make something up to be sensational.
We're going to run this to ground. I'm going to fact check this by searching on Twitter for Gavin Williamson and mum.
Yeah.
QuoraAnswers.com. Who was he crying to?
So anyway, if you like the usual sort of, procedure humpers are sort of all up in a sort of tizzy because Dominic Raab sort of got like rather than getting sort of ignominiously fired for, for basically botching the withdrawal from Afghanistan, which to their standards, no one could possibly have done well because they don't like that there was a withdrawal and he wasn't treating it with the solemnity. Anyone would have done that. Nothing would have changed. It doesn't matter who is in power at any of these top spots because they're there for like 2 years on average anyway. Most of the people who were moved have like huge, like the person in charge of COP, like they're
Alex
being
Sharma.
moved.
Yeah.
Alex Sharma's being moved, which is fucking insane.
No,
Unless you don't care. It doesn't matter that any of these people being in charge of any of these positions because they basically just do the same job more or less. And the Westminster Circus watchers just want to see the clowns they like rewarded.
Yeah, well, the policy is, I found this very funny about the whole Dominic Raab thing, where it's like, well, why isn't he doing something? It's like, no, his job is to do nothing. He's the British Foreign Secretary. What you do is you show up and you go, oh dear, what a shame there's nothing we can do. Oh well. And all he did was not bother with that bit. He just didn't do the lip service, but the outcome is exactly the same. What do you think he's going to do? Ring the Taliban and be like, oh, knock it off, chaps. Come on. It's just not cricket.
I will do adult karate at you.
Yeah, exactly. They're terrified. Liz Truss will sort them out.
Yeah.
She'll open up some new fucking pork markets over there, and then they'll be sorry.
But I think the big loss is that just one night after making a speech that's going to require sort of any BBC or Channel 4 output to be more, quote, distinctively British, John Whittingdale is now gone.
Actors are going to have to get uglier.
But what's very funny is that one of the examples that was given as TV that's going to be more distinctively British is Only Fools and Horses.
Awesome.
So we want to make it like the 60s and 70s again.
To be fair, that's more recent. Only Fools and Horses is like 80s and 90s, but yeah.
We are traditional British television like that Freddie Flintoff thing that they show in Germany every year.
Oh yeah,
the Freddie Flintoff thing in Germany.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
right.
Nick might be better explaining that. The what is it, Christmas or New Year's tradition of this British comedy that only Germans watch?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Dinner for One.
Yeah, Dinner for
Freddie
One. Yeah.
Flinton. I don't know why I did.
Oh, Freddie Flintoff, just drunk cricketer Freddie Flintoff
Dinner for
tripping
One.
over a rug.
It's called
while
Dinner
attempting
for
to
One.
win.
Yes.
I like to pretend that I'm better than this tradition, but I've adopted it too.
It's not bad. I've watched it. It's okay.
Sehr lustig. Yeah.
It actually is, for whenever it was made. Actually, it wasn't made as early as I thought it was. But for the Germans having the worst sense of humor, they did pick something actually kind of funny to watch every single year and just drive it into the ground. And they love it. They they recite it amongst themselves.
They don't watch it with German subtitles.
Yeah, no, they don't have to, they kind of don't have to know what's going on. It doesn't matter. They just, even people I know who have horrible English can recite the entire thing.
And additionally, other examples, Only Fools and Horses, Dad's Army, and Coronation Street.
Coronation Street, fucking hell.
We should make stuff, we have to sort of tune British TV output to be more like those three things.
Those three extremely relevant cultural products.
Why this is moronic though is because of austerity. We're no longer capable of making anything that good. Like Dad's Army and Only Fools and Horses were good TV shows. They're well written, they're well put together, they're interesting. They there's they're actually funny. Whereas now we have Mrs. Brown's Boys. because like everything is just
welcome for that.
pablum.
A bunch of thrillers where we can see Martin Compston either wearing a beard or not wearing a beard. Like,
Yeah. You couldn't make Dad's Army now because if you did, they would say it was woke. Because it takes the piss out of the high command.
Like so many things, though, much of this policy is actually snuck into the Tory, like the senior Tory drive to privatize Channel 4. Because they're like, they're going to need money to make all this British stuff.
I have a suggestion.
Yeah.
Okay, so speaking of austerity and just ruined TV, the UK could do what Greece did, because they don't have, like, for the longest time, they didn't have their own television. I mean, they did, but, like, whatever. They just started importing a shit ton of soap operas from Turkey. So do that. They're great. They're insane.
Or as we call them, Greek soap operas. I think you'll find.
They imported them from us.
I am enjoying a Greek coffee, watching Greek soap opera.
Yes, I don't know. Pick like a random country, just import them, and then have them like all horribly overdubbed and translated.
You can have the Turkish Sopranos,
or we imported
Lebanese
we imported
Sopranos,
Neighbors.
yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh crikey! It's a hot day here in Basildon.
Coming from Canada, I'm very familiar with like local content laws in like our publicly funded broadcaster, right? Because there's a big Canadian content thing.
And it is time for us to have some authentic local content.
You're missing that. That's the wrong direction.
Oh, okay.
Because the thing is, right? You understand why you're doing this, right? It's because the massive concentration of capital in like Netflix and Disney and stuff basically means that most stuff is kind of undifferentiated based on what like tech execs and all of the sort of pedophiles that run Hollywood.
Spencer Confidential, but it's happening in West Didsbury.
Yeah, exactly. Think that should be happening, right?
Spencer took Confidential.
And the reason that you have like a sort of a content law like that is because you know that without it, you just wouldn't be making anything that was distinctively your type of thing.
Not to mention all of your best actors fucking off to America and playing Americans for the rest of their careers.
Exactly. And so it sort of makes sense. And it's what we did in Canada, and it's why we have shows like Corner Gas in Canada. One of the best shows ever made. But yeah, it's why we have comedic powerhouse Brent Butt. But it's so clearly, like, again, appealing to this real thing that's actually happening and does need a policy to counteract it, but is just sort of in order to sort of do cultural parochialism and then privatize Channel 4.
And like it's a curiously like regulatory and authoritarian measure from a supposedly libertarian government, when the sensible answer for this is actually just fucking fund the arts, just throw money at shit and hope it pans out. Whereas
then we could have British Grimes.
Yeah. Whereas instead we're sort of like micromanaging it. So we won't have British Grimes, but we will have endless remakes of Dad's Army.
Yeah. I feel that you had British Grimes like in at one point, or am I just like
John Le Mesurier marrying a billionaire?
Last little bit of British news before we go on to other things. The other sort of big news that dropped today is the AUKUS, a new sort of subset of the Five Eyes.
Me ballistic missile submarine.
Where
Five Eyes?
We're giving nuclear subs to the Australians, not nuclear armed subs, just nuclear powered subs. And this is
off me attack submarine.
Yeah.
I'm on my way to turn some boats back to Nauru.
Well, this is mostly to do with basically trying to continue provoking China into annihilating us.
Doesn't the Royal Australian Navy have a terrible track record of submarine safety?
Yes.
Yes, famously so.
Yeah. What if they had What if the nuclear powered subs was just enough responsibility to whip them into shape?
I see.
The important thing of all of this, the silver lining, is the French are pissed off.
Yes, that's true.
That is good. I do like that.
They are, because the French basically agreed to like buy some nuclear subs sell nuclear subs to Australia.
$50 billion of nuclear submarine technology, and that deal is now fucked.
Do you not want these great French submarines? Huh? They are not even really black. They are covered in the boot polish.
Right?
And
gone.
they're even more upset that the Polish were going to sell them a much better deal, only $10 billion, and they would have had the top screen door technology on each of them.
I'm pretty sure that the French just like knocked on the U.S.'s door and just asked them like for some F-35s. They could get some though. I mean, like, that's a trade-off, right? A plane that can't fly. I mean, what are the French going to do with submarines anyway? Like what? Like
the French ambassador to America was tweeting today in English, being like, 240 years ago, the French Navy beat the British Navy in Chesapeake Bay, and we can do it again.
Yeah, we probably could. What?
Wait, what?
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 Why is everyone going as insane as us?
What's the British Navy doing in Chesapeake Bay?
The fucking French Navy might be the only navy I rate the Royal Navy's chances against. That's two decrepit colonial powers sort of like getting into fucking a handbag fight is exactly what I want to see.
Like a fucking sword fight between Captain Tom and Prince Philip.
What would a submarine fight even look like? Because
well, you can't see anything.
You ever seen the documentary Hunt for Red October?
Yeah. When I demanded Master and Commander 2, this isn't what I meant.
I mean this like I mean this seriously. Like the entire point of a submarine is that you can't see them on radar. Like my best friend was a submariner or a submariner, whatever the fucking term is, for 5 years in the Navy, and was like describing how they would like do their drills with like aircraft carriers and destroyers, and they would get bored of the fact that they could like never find them. So two submarines just like searching for each other for like weeks on end sounds fucking horrible.
Yeah, but it's all Dayton, isn't it?
Anyway, the thing about the AUKUS thing is it's just another kind of decision that sort of the I would say rapidly in decline sort of NATO alliance is making in order to decide that we are not going to go out without being without getting into a war against China that we will fucking lose. And
awesome.
the sort
At
of
least they're not
column
investing it in surface ships, which are so much scrap metal. But good lord.
So, and again, much to the delight of columnists, we are moving the Doomsday Clock closer to midnight, which is like their favorite thing is when that happens, because they get to feel important.
When the
I
party's
should
jumping.
point out a number of total nuclear submarines operated by the People's Liberation Army Navy, 6.
Yeah.
Number of nuclear submarines operated by the United States Navy alone, 50-something, I think, off the top of my head.
They don't have any diesel-powered submarines anymore.
Surely
They
that
got
should
rid
be
of them,
the
like, 30
People's
years ago.
Liberation Navy.
No,
People's
they keep
Liberation
it to,
Army
like,
Navy.
Army Navy to annoy you. Yes.
Yeah. Just to annoy very particular people.
68 nuclear submarines in the U.S. Navy.
Yeah, gotta have more of
All
those.
their submarines.
Anyway,
One more, exactly one more is what we need.
so
Yeah.
that's just a little bit of the news today. Let's get into our core topic. Germany decides in a contest between the ruling party and the finance minister of the ruling coalition. What's going on?
How many nuclear submarines do we have?
That's actually a weirdly important topic. NATO is a big factor of this election.
Yeah.
Even though
Is
no one actually
any
cares.
party committed to leaving it, destroying it from the inside, vandalizing its headquarters?
This is
TPing the NATO
God, you
headquarters.
already you're already 7 steps ahead of us. This is actually like the main thing that the very conservative media in Germany, which is the majority of it, if not all of it, have been like hammering Die Linke, or like the left party, about, saying that because there is like, as is very typical with any left-wing party in continental Europe, is that they're split on pretty much every issue on the board. From
Wait,
when it
leftists who don't agree
I
with
know,
each other?
right? Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, it's fucking
when it
wild.
comes to things like NATO, when it comes to things like especially in Germany, Israel, Palestine, when it comes to things like I don't know, other lame bullshit that then like leftists have an opinion about that, like no other sane person actually should. Like, was Walter Ulbricht or Erich Honecker better? There's parties that then in Germany, will like side with one or the other.
It's just basically Barney in the bar going, Lord Palmerston.
But so they've all been hammering on Die Linke, saying that they want to get out of NATO, which a part of their party has been like critical of NATO, but I don't think that they've made it a party policy to the point that then like Dietmar Basch, who's one of the party heads of it, said that like that was never like that's one of the first things that they're like willing to compromise on if they're invited into a coalition. Is it like, yeah, we'll stay in NATO. We like we do not give a shit. So
I mean, importantly, they would never reach the numbers to actually implement it, even if they did want to leave NATO. And they're also like way more concerned with everything else.
You got me very excited for a second.
Oh, I know. Yeah. That's the thing. Is that,
NATO
like,
would collapse without Germany. Of
Die
course.
Linke is currently polling around like 6 to 7%, which I mean, Germany has a 5% threshold for entering parliament. They could possibly, in a weird turn of events, just not even make it in, which would be pretty shitty. Again, would not surprise me with how conservative Germany is. That there is a rightward push after Merkel. I think that then that's like one of the most important things is that then like Merkel, whatever you want to say about her, she was more progressive than the rest of her party, and her party is having a massive reshuffling that we can surely get into. But
they're bringing in Liz Truss.
She'll sort it out.
Yeah, but the thing with Die Linke is that the possibility of them ending up in a coalition is like kind of up in the air, but
So
they
I
would.
I want to just move back for a sec.
Oh yeah,
Well,
sure
because one of the things, right, is Germany doesn't have really a winner take all system like Britain does. Instead, you guys tend to have big governing coalitions, right?
In
Germany
Britain, there are no
theoretically could have one. They have just historically never like Germany. I don't know what the historical reason for this of why there's been these two major. I mean, I do to a degree, but why it's always been in the sense that then that there's never been a situation where the CDU or the SPD has had 50% of the vote. Because like we have to remember too that then that Germany has practically a one-party system. Like, yes, there is the SPD, but the CDU has been the party that then everyone gets to more or less. Yeah, they're the default party that then you more or less are like allowed to govern with. There have been 2 times that they have not been in a coalition in the entire post-war history of Germany. So it's but like so theoretically you could have a winner-take-all system like the UK. Historically has never allowed it to happen. There's been one case, I think, recently with the Schröder government where it was just a red-green coalition. The Greens were just to get them over the bit that they needed, and the Greens got very weird ministries like the foreign ministry, which was a big deal with Afghanistan because the person who decided upon this was a Green politician to go into Afghanistan who was actually from the anti-war movement.
A Green politician ending up being a massive foreign policy hawk? Crazy.
Well, no, like it was
Canada nervously.
Yeah, you have to think about then the sense too that was not only just in the sense that it was a Green dude doing it. It was Germany's first actual deployment, not in a NATO sense, since World War II. You know,
You need peacekeepers to go over there and make sure people are sorting the recycling correctly.
Yeah.
What could be more German than that?
So it looks like the story of the election sort of so far, right, has been the collapsing, a relative collapse in support for the CDU, the SPD sort of taking up a little bit of that, but almost just sort of lower enthusiasm across the board. It seems like the election, gentlemen and ladies, I think the vibes are fucked.
Oh no.
I would disagree. I don't know. I think that the vibes of the German election are actually like refreshing to have them dumb and exciting for a bit. It makes me feel like I can make fun of the Germans for once because they're like, oh wow, like you're from the US, you had Donald Trump. It's like you have the literal fucking Keebler elf running of the head of the CDU. Like
So tell me about who's in charge of the CDU now and what are they what's their whole deal? Do you think they're gonna get into a coalition?
Okay,
who wants to take this first? Yeah, go Ciaran.
My dumb guy prediction is SPD will get the largest vote share. Greens might even get the second most largest vote share, or they'll do like historically great. And in classic German fashion, the CDU will end up in charge again. That is like my dumb guy prediction for this whole thing. So it's worth pointing out that like the only difference between chancellor and prime minister systems is that the person in charge of the party is not the person they put forward for their like candidate.
So there's the interesting thing with, so as Ciaran mentioned, the head of the CDU is currently this lovely fella named Armin Laschet, who is the minister president of Nordrhein-Westfalen, or what is it, North Rhine-Westphalia is the English term or whatever.
Most populated German state.
Yeah, he's also probably one of
That's
the
where
most
Cologne is, right? So
exactly. Yeah.
Cologne,
So
Bonn, yeah.
So it's he announced his candidacy drunk as hell at Carnival.
Dudes
Nice.
rock.
Yeah, cool.
Dudes rock.
Great.
All right. Armin Laschet sucks, but he is a definition of German dudes rocking.
Du hast meine Duden gerockt.
There's a video of him that then like appeared the other day where he's like in a school classroom. They're like doing this like song, and he's like so unenthusiastically like trying to go along with them, and is just like tapping his foot, and that is it. He is incredibly awkward. He has been responsible, him alone, for four not just like controversies, but like full on out corruption scandals within the last year. One part because of Corona, another part because that he is way too good of friends with the largest meat production company in Germany.
Hell yeah.
Just like
that first, baby.
I mentioned him once before on a previous Trashfuture episode that he's the one who did corruption with his son to get him more Instagram deals.
Yes. Yes.
Put him in charge of the country. I don't care.
Yeah.
Die Trump-Familie auf Deutschland.
The biggest tragedy of him possibly not becoming the next chancellor would be that we don't get Joe Laschet, the boy prince of Germany.
Yeah.
I do love a political fail son.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want Armin Laschet to seize absolute power, so he's like the fucking kid, Lukashenko's kid in Belarus.
Oh, yeah. Kolya. We love Kolya. Lukashenko.
Yeah. But so the thing with Laschet
And
is
he's here
that
tonight.
I didn't see you in the corner there, King.
Hello, I also love potato like my father.
They also sound like this.
Yeah, that's
So,
right. It is genetic voice.
Armin Laschet was doing all right until there was the massive floods in Germany, in his state of NRW, and also in Rheinland-Pfalz, the state to the north of him, or west or whatever. I don't fucking know. Doesn't really matter. I'm not good at geography. I'm good at podcasting. They don't overlap.
You're American. It's a lobe in the
It's
brain
fine.
that you lack.
Yeah.
It's fine.
And I mean, I live in Germany and I can't name all the states. So like,
Hell yeah.
but so Armin Laschet really, after all the scandals that he had, the thing that then really had him and his party tank in the polls was the response of the floods that he was just really bad about. And you kind of see too that then within that there's been a transition to the polls from Laschet's popularity, not even Laschet's popularity, but like the CDU was like polling around 30%, and then it's just been like nosediving. And they dove a little bit during the like mask scandal that they had. Like, for those who don't know, Germany had it that only one mask was legal in this country, the FFP2 mask, which
it was the one from The Mask with Jim Carrey.
Exactly.
Everyone in Germany was going full sicko mode.
No one could stop us. We kept asking them to, but no one could.
But the thing is that it ended up being that then a lot of members of the CDU passed it so that they could like money launder, or they could just like make a bunch of money off of this thing.
What?
Yeah. I know, crazy,
I love
right?
how corrupt Europe is. It's awesome.
Because also the other
The
thing, right?
CDU is like an Italian level of corruption, to the point that then that there may be a woman, I'm just simply, no libel here. A woman, for those who don't know, also the CDU had like a massive paper trail leading to then like them being way too close to the Azerbaijani dictator whose name I forget. And one woman died in Cuba. Like, an active member of the CDU died on a flight. Very suspiciously died on a flight back from Cuba. She was not supposed to be there too, which is even like weirder.
Before turning the Havana Syndrome Ray on herself.
Yeah.
but if we like the CDU, I mean, also like before we sort of move on from the CDU as well, right? The Christian democracy is of course a very like European
Normal
concept
thing, yeah.
that definitely came from Europe and is popular because it's popular among Europeans.
What's a more European weapon than the Gladio?
Yeah, like classic figureheads of Christian democracy, Aldo Moro, some others presumably.
Yeah, because like the
Much like Christian Rock.
the Christian Democrat, all of these sort of the Christian democracy movement is basically just like with the prospect of the CDU possibly losing power in Germany. I'm sure like 4 like just absolutely decrepit like Italian like ultra fascists and like their CIA handler are like getting their Zimmer frames out to do one more bombing.
Oh yeah, it's time for real Brabant hours again.
So, talking about people who are open fascists, the CDU. All right. So remember how I mentioned that then Merkel has been kind of this like figure who's been holding the CDU together. The CDU has maybe not been popular, but Merkel has. And there is this like there's this like lie that Germans tell themselves that Germans vote for parties, not politicians. Merkel has literally been the antithesis of this, that people who voted typically SPD or Green maybe in the past voted for Merkel overwhelmingly the last 4 elections. She has
Can't argue with that ass.
She's been overwhelmingly the most popular politician in this country, probably in the entire post-war period. I mean, even there's like figures like Willy Brandt and like Helmut Schmidt, but remember, like Schmidt had to was it Schmidt or Brandt had to like step down because of like a GDR scandal, people like Helmut Kohl had to step down because of a corruption scandal that then had to do with like illegal funds being pumped, CDU corrupt, history, baby. But Merkel has been this figure who's kind of kept this like false narrative of this progressive version of the CDU together. And now that she's gone, all of like the true CDU members have been like bubbling back up to the surface. One of them being a Hans-Georg Maaßen, who is running in Thüringen for a seat that probably may go to the left of the SPD, but the reason that they're running him in Thüringen is because like the racist there, it's East Germany. He is an open Nazi. Like he got fired from his job at the head of the Bundesverfassungsschutz, so like the German equivalent of the FBI, for not investigating Nazi crimes that then were in Chemnitz during a protest thing, and he just kind of brushed it off. He also like may or may not have tampered with evidence of the NSU2 trials, and he openly told the Alternative for Germany, the far right-wing party that then has kind of popped up within the last election, how to avoid an investigation from his own department. And then on the 8th of May, just kind of like praised the Nazis on a Zoom call, which for those who don't know, 8th of May is when World War II ended, so like he's a Nazi.
Great day for the Nazis.
Yeah. So these are and he's not the only one. Like there are people all throughout this party who are kind of like bubbling back up of like
it's almost as though this sort of whole Christian democracy movement was maybe created, for example, by the Americans in Europe to rehabilitate a bunch of ex-Nazis, little has changed.
Crazy. I like the idea that he was praising the Nazis on a Zoom call, but it was just like a family Zoom call.
But
crazy uncle again.
But the thing is, if you don't want the CDU and their sort of far right corrupt chicanery, then you could always vote for the SPD, because that's the other thing about Germany, right? Is that if you vote for the main opposition party, chances are you'll be voting like the current head of the SPD.
It's the Duff beer pipes, right?
Yeah.
Because like Olaf Scholz is the current vice chancellor, so you're kicking out. You are literally kicking out one guy to replace him with someone who works for him.
And last election, their entire campaign was, remember the GroKo, the Grosse Coalition, the Great Coalition between the two parties. We're not going to do that again. A couple of months of like negotiations.
I'm back, baby.
We're doing it again. And chances are, like he's talking in like debates and in presses that like he loves the GroKo. I love my time in the GroKo. It's been great. But like the entire thing is just like, yeah, we'll do it again, but this time we're topping. This time we're going to be in charge.
Yeah.
Me and the boys in the GroKo.
And
sipping on Four
also
Loko.
the guy who was finance minister. the guy who was finance minister while the Wirecard thing was happening.
Oh, and Comex.
and
all
Comex,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Wirecard were in big trouble with the German government because this is nowhere near the level of corruption which we expect from a German company.
Yeah.
It's like what I'm sort of trying to driving at, right, is that it seems like there is just like German politics, or at least German electoral politics, aside from maybe Die Linke, is sort of just everyone kind of agreeing with one another and all giving each other jobs.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
It's Germany, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's we have 6 major parties. 5 of them all kind of agree with each other, and the 6th one doesn't agree with itself.
Yeah.
So that's
The exception that proves the rule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, also
you
when
said
you talk,
you said this wasn't exciting. You said German politics were bullshit. Yet here we are, having a laugh about this.
But it's actually
normal.
very complicated bullshit.
Yeah.
and on the other end here, right? If you want to go up a level, so that there's a lot of talk about what this means for the European Union, right? Where if you get someone like Scholz in, there's the talk of the sort of columnist class is that this could herald as Timothy Garton Ash wrote in a very stupid Guardian article, the necessary alignment for a post-COVID period of dynamic European reform, which I assume he means giving sort of massive subsidies to favored businesses and sort of agreeing on a kind of continent-wide slow erosion of the rights of workers and brutalization of migrants.
I thought in the European Union it was illegal to subsidize private companies with state money.
Never.
No,
It was
Why would
my
they do
understanding that was the reason why we had to leave, so that we could subsidize businesses.
So to be like, all right, like I do not like Olaf Scholz. I mean,
No.
I don't.
He's also
dislike
mayor of
him.
Hamburg during the G20 protests. He's like a big military cop guy as well.
Yeah.
Mm.
However, the thing I think that's the most important thing with all of this, of that, if like the thing that the SPD is at least willing to like negotiate about, not even just negotiate about, that they've made a big part of their campaign, is that they are willing to scrap the debt brake, which is something that is like written in Germany's constitution, that they are like not allowed to like run a deficit. And it isn't even so much they're not allowed to take on new debt. They're not running a deficit thing is the CDU's version of like an even more extreme version. So the CDU has had something called the Black Zero, which they have done their entirety up until Corona, and Corona had Germany like actually run a budget deficit for the first time in their like modern history. So the thing like that's quite interesting is that if the SPD wins, which they probably are, they were the most unpopular major party in Germany a few months ago, had an uptick, currently polling between 25 to 27%, depending on which polls you look at. It's like Olaf Scholz is well liked, probably because he's so goddamn boring. And they're probably going to go into a coalition with the Greens and most likely the FDP. Now, what's interesting about this is that the FDP is a party who wants to preserve the debt brake up until yesterday. A little bit of inside baseball is that Christian Lindner, the head of the FDP, has kind of hinted that he's willing to scrap their obsession with this debt brake. So the thing that then is going to come down to it at the end of the day is when Germany comes into coalition building, it's going to come down to this like literal one stupid issue, which is what to do about Germany's ability, like constitutionally, like bound ability to take on new debts. Yeah. And
with like negative interest rates as well. There's like no reason for them.
So
not
it's
to
like
at the moment.
nerdy bullshit, but at the same time, like,
but you can so easily explain it. Anyone who's been to like Berlin or like a bunch of other major cities out in the West and wonders why like Europe's leading economy looks like fucking shit.
yeah,
This is why
they don't spend any money. And so the FDP, like, I mean, not to give them, too much of the spotlight, but they have kind of like really like they're polling around 11% currently right now. They're probably going to be the first ones to go into a coalition with the SPD and the Greens. So they will be what is called a traffic light coalition in Germany. And they are probably going to gun for the finance ministry, which to like put that into some perspective is like your like dumb libertarian high school friend is then now head of the like most powerful economy in Europe.
Christian Lindner is like a briefcase kid.
He was, yeah, like no shit, he was.
There's footage.
So I want to talk a little bit though about one more party, a party that might not be getting the 5% it needs to enter the Bundestag, but
Die Matankokken-Party.
But when we want to talk about briefcase high school kids, is their like natural home. It is the expression of the power of high school briefcase kids. It's Volt.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
In my mind, the like John Cena music was like building up before you mentioned that.
Right? Because we've talked about all those boring old parties that are going to,
We have captured und compromised to ein permanent end. The need for backpacks in Schule.
Frauen und Herren, we got them.
because all of these parties are the ones that are sort of duking it out over yesterday's issues. Like, for example, should Germany be able to borrow money to fund the stuff it does? Or
who cares? Lame-o.
Should Germany be in NATO?
Yeah,
whatever.
Stupid.
Yeah,
Boring.
We want to know, when are you going?
Bitcoin ATMs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bitcoin ATMs, more telehealth. I want everything to be a Zoom call. I want it to be illegal to wedgie me.
Yeah. I
I'm
want to
involved.
tell my doctor over Zoom that the Nazis were much misunderstood.
Can you please tell me, what is Volt?
Oh my god, what isn't Volt? So for anyone who hasn't listened to Corner Spaeti before, they won't really know about our terminal fascination with Volt.
Or you mean your?
Yeah, my terminal fascination with
I
Volt.
stopped appearing on Volt episodes because I can't take it anymore. It's like Ciaran has the Pepe Sylvia board behind him.
Yeah, it's the Pepe Sylvia meme. But so basically, if I were to Volt on their own terms are pragmatic, progressive, pan-European party.
Wait,
they're
they're pan-European.
PPP?
Does that mean there's a pole vault?
Oh,
Thank you,
no,
Milo.
they're desperately unpopular in
You're
Eastern
welcome.
Europe.
Oh, what a surprise. Excuse me, are you in favor of ethnic cleansing? No.
Yeah, they're big in like the Netherlands and Germany.
And
And
these are countries that have never done
the weed
ethnic
smoking
cleansing.
fuck your sister countries. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So the trajectory was they got an MEP in 2019 in Germany, the country, the easiest place to get an MEP in. And they got 3 MPs in the Netherlands, in the national parliament, the country that's easiest to get into the national parliament. They are basically, imagine the Greens, imagine every European social democracy party currently, but without any of the radical history, without any of the protest power in the past that might convince you to vote for them or stay voting for them.
Ciaran, I'm
Just
sorry.
imagine-
Being like the son of a McKinsey like CEO is revolutionary. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, because you're choosing to go into public service by doing. Sorry, go ahead.
The party was founded by 3 friends, an Italian, a German, and a French woman, who met in McKinsey and Company while working
who
there.
walked into a bar together, yes.
And they decided to like just do austerity.
The southeast
Yeah.
of France.
The Italian guy and the French girl have
Wait,
since
no.
left the party.
This is Christine Lagarde, Mario Draghi, and Wolfgang Schäuble meeting to fucking murder Greece.
Yeah,
what are you doing?
If that's the Muppets, Volt is Muppets babies. Like, that's what we're looking at. It's an incredibly hollow party, but does kind of campaign and have like Wahlplakate, posters everywhere being like, we want to do social housing like in Vienna, ignoring all the big communist history that resulted in that. And like you see these posters and they do well in student towns, which I guess technically Berlin is as well, where you see that. How do you think they don't like support radical measures for housing that are currently in the city? But they really do not. They absolutely do not. Other positions they have, they're really, really against the reintroduction of a wealth tax because, and I kid you not, their MEPs that they have from Germany, whose name is Damian Buselager, or actually Damian Hieronymus Johannes Freiherr von Buselager
Hell
of the
yes.
Buselager family.
Yeah, but Bussy Lager, the beer made in my asshole.
Yeah.
His granddad was involved in the July 20th plot, which
they all claim that. That's like my grandfather was in the French Resistance. Yeah, sure.
no.
He actually was. Like,
no. You don't understand the July 20th plot from the actual German perspective, because the July 20th plot was, I would like to be Hitler now, please.
Mom said it's my turn on the Reichsführership.
It's a tactical disagreement with the Nazi Party in 1944, not an ideological one.
Okay.
So, and naturally in the Netherlands as well, the people who fund this party are, with the exception of some fintech startup people, are mostly people with Fons and Fans and Graf and Freiherr in their names, like former nobility of these countries.
Some of them, maybe like a couple of them put together, like Graf, Freiherr, von und zu.
Oh yeah, you can wacky stack those. You know, the bonuses add up, and it's
a bunch of cons basically.
Yeah, and they really, really, really want you to believe that they are the most progressive option that you can pick from, because they are willing to show you all the donations that are made. Are there any limits on the donations? No.
No, of course not.
No. Are companies forbidden from donating? No, absolutely
Would
not.
you limit the taxes that people in companies could pay? Doesn't sound very progressive to me.
No, absolutely not. Would you stop an individual person from Munich donating to the party, and then also his social media for authors company donating to the party under a different name?
Of course not.
He's on Instagram, like bench pressing with books to advertise his social media for.
So you mean to tell me that he took your joke and made it a reality?
Yeah.
What a cunt! What a
I
piece of fucking shit!
Sorry to announce that the Duden have once again garocked.
So effectively,
saying £250, and that's with the right arm alone. What about the left? Reading poems.
So
hundreds of copies of Atlas Shrugged.
It's this party of dorks that have basically like don't even have the history of like Starmer's labor, basically.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or more distinctly in the German context, don't have the history of the Greens, which as much as they suck now, at least they were like
They're for
radical
pedophilia.
environmentalists.
I mean, yeah,
that also. But which party has it?
Pedophilia.
And then but also like anti-NATO stuff and like anti Germany should never rearm ever because things happened before.
Invading Afghanistan, yeah.
Yeah.
So, but
they've departed. But,
what does Volt actually stand for? Because you've shown me a big list of some of their policies, and could you give me some of the big hits?
I think the best thing of this is that actually, from my end of this, I know Ciaran has been wrecking his brain left and right.
I'm Volt-brained.
With Volt, is that I interact with them here and there. The thing that I love about them is that they're all really dumb, and they think that like my Twitter Avi is actually me. For those who don't know, my Twitter Avi is Paul Wall.
Yeah, it's you.
Yeah, it's me.
Yeah.
And they just
Nick every day is calling up the jewelry store and telling them make him a grill.
Exactly. I mean, you see it, but no, so they're the kind of fucking idiots who like will screen cap me and be like, look at this guy. And
they cannot post.
Doesn't even have a briefcase. Calls himself a political commentator.
Yeah, he has a grill but no briefcase. But
they cannot post the Save Their Lives.
No,
not at all.
There was one case where they were going against the expropriation campaign, which is going on in Berlin. Of just to back up for a second, there is a current thing that is on the Berlin level for the elections, because it isn't just national. It isn't just a federal election this year. There's also some national elections. State elections, and then certain like local direct democracy things that can be voted for. One of the things in Berlin can be that
seize all the apartments of the mega property management companies.
Sure.
Yeah. So
the dream measure. Yeah.
Yes. It's also widely popular, Alice.
Yeah. Crazy, right? So for any of the TF listeners who are in Berlin who can vote, I mean, they probably already know, but just shouting it out. Deutsche Wohnen Co. enteignen is sick. Corner Spaeti has had multiple episodes about this, and we support them.
Even if you're not in Berlin and you can't vote, I've voted 6 times already.
Exactly.
Put on a series of disguises. Get fake IDs.
Get a briefcase.
I got a fake ID, y'all. I'm going to vote in the German election.
Germany
Everybody in the club
just
getting tipsy.
Germany just got dinner for one. They don't know who Groucho Marx is. You can wear the glasses.
Exactly.
It will work.
But
if you start changing the mustache, don't go too far in. That's all I'm saying.
Forbidden German mustache.
Volt did a thing that they are explicitly against the Deutsche Wohnen Co-Enteignen campaign because they want to be like Vienna. And then just me and my dumb stupidity was like, they just want to do a public-private partnership. And this Volter just then responded with the definition of a PPP, saying that it was different. And I feel that that's
all
like
the different thing.
The perfect example of what this party is, that they're so bad at grifting that they will like try to like gaslight and grift you and not really know.
Well, they'll trick themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
Basically.
A little bit.
But also, like,
gatekeep
if you,
girl boss.
I mean, look, you can sort of know on one level, like, no, these people do not want to do anything that's like Vienna. They want to do public-private partnerships that will sort of, they can say are going to be like Vienna. Because if you want to do something like Vienna, that requires you to have, at some point, mass expropriated a lot of the big property owners.
If you want to do a PPP, you exist already then as Berlin. Like like Germany is the perfect PPP country where nothing can get done because there are so many different connections between them. Like, I mean, there's the example of the airport that just finished last year, 2 years ago. The reason that
it over schedule.
Yeah. The reason that it didn't finish wasn't because of the state. It was because the state cut corners giving out contracts to like people who couldn't fulfill them, or like we see this with like hurricane relief in the US and shit,
I mean, this just seems like Blairism, but without the Labour Party.
Yeah, there's a bit of that. I mean, there's also a great deal more cringe.
Oh, it's Change UK! I get it. You guys created a Change UK from that's the grassroots of Change UK created a party. The briefcase people, they made one.
Yeah,
brilliant.
But Riley, in every major Western European economy.
God. I mean, political parties are just like have to be understood just as expressions of tendencies and preferences and stuff. Like it's expressions of sort of the relative power of sort of different interest groups, and it means that because there are enough roller backpack people, you're never going to get away from that tendency in politics. But my God, is it the most just nails on a chalkboard annoying
They should
one.
do Volt UK to get Britain to rejoin. I want to see German guys with briefcases doing door-to-door in Basildon.
Oh, Milo, you sweet, sweet summer child. Did you not know that Volt...
Oh, no. No, Milo, put the lace down!
Volt UK has run in... Let me check the terrifying spreadsheet that I keep. They have run at a local level in... oh my God! What was the name of this place? It's got a stupid English tiny name. I want to say it's like Warwickshire or something.
Oh,
like
right,
that.
one of those.
Okay,
Why
no,
not?
sorry. Cuppington and Leek Wooten in Warwickshire. Okay, there you go. One Louis Perdiago is running for Volt there in the local council.
Louis
They've also
Perdiago.
Right.
They've also
Friend of
run.
ours.
They ran as an independent in the last EU elections before you guys left. And they ran in Scottish elections as well with Renew Scotland.
Do you want to hear the wait? I forgot about the funniest Volt thing. Holy shit.
Oh, yeah.
How did I forget about this? There was a guy who sued Germany, who's a member of Volt, because he was from the UK and is not allowed, because of Brexit, to run in Germany anymore, and seems to have forgotten that Brexit happened.
So, look,
Amazing.
you can check out what Volt believes. They believe that Europe faces 5+1 challenges.
Oh yeah,
5+1.
So the first
They're
challenge.
superstitious about the number 6.
Well, I don't know why 5+1. Oh, it's +1 EU reform.
They added that last one late. That's the actual reason.
So the 5 challenges are the smart state, that has such weasel words
there's
as
not enough computers.
Yes, they want to digitize public services to reduce waste.
Going
Which
on the
basically,
computer.
they want to replace government with going on the computer. They want to modernize education systems, which means replacing school with going on the computer.
Yeah. Way ahead of you.
They want to make high-quality healthcare available to everyone. Guess what that means?
Going on the computer.
Oh boy,
Going
does
on
it
the
ever.
computer.
Taking your weird dick problem on the computer. Post a picture of your dick on Reddit and see if they can figure out what's wrong with you.
providing a fair, transparent legal system with effective law enforcement
On the computer?
I think that just means more cops.
Doc, I got the vaccine. My balls are so big.
Riley, speaking of which, the Berlin chapter of Volt is still in favor of having random warrantless spot checks in crime-ridden areas.
No.
But they said in their justification.
No. Okay? No.
I love calling it a chapter. It makes it sound like a biker gang.
Yeah.
I know, right?
Riding through this world.
They basically said in the description, 99 boo-boo, don't do racism. So, there won't be any racism with the random spot checks in crime-ridden areas.
I read their report on this, and they were like, "Oh, we'll combine this with police stuff that has been proven to not work."
Well, it'll work this time because German police are famously very good at following orders.
Yeah.
Imagine giving German police the power of stop and frisk.
Yeah.
I mean, they already kind of have it informally, but just
You can't do racist cops here. The Greeks are still a different race according to them. This will be just terrible.
I know, dog. I know. I feel you.
The Greeks are the only people who are a different race, I'll have you know. More research needed.
Some
Volt
Germans
will
need this.
implement smart railings on the guard tower to protect our law enforcement. The economic renaissance, that's their second their challenge, their being a face.
1930s Volt running everything off a big IBM computer.
They want to tackle unemployment with innovative working schemes and easing the setting up of small businesses. Also, they want to create a European labor platform, which I can only, as far as I've been able to tell, it's like a publicly funded LinkedIn.
Going to be on the computer.
They love LinkedIn.
Yeah.
All of the
LinkedIn party.
LinkedIn.
You've got
They are a
Delinker and then
LinkedIn
you've got DeLinkedIn.
I think the European jobs platform is even worse than that. I think it's literally just a European-wide monster.com or monster.co.uk.
Why has no one thought to do this like monster.com?
No, Monster Energy drink for all Europeans. Yes, get buck wild. Now next will be 4 locos for every European. I am for this.
That would be awesome. Fear Local, the German equivalent.
So, create a unified European social and fiscal system. Isn't that just called the European super state?
Oh yeah. They also have the most backwards opinion of how to go about making their federal Europe project, because they're like, we're going to get into the European Parliament and we're then going to do this. And I was like, that's not who's in control of this. You should be getting into you should be trying really. The guy who's the head of the party is the one MEP they have, and it should be the people they elect to the Dutch Parliament, because they actually have more power by being in the Dutch Parliament. They think they still think the EU is this top-down thing rather than no, it's the member states. The member states still run this.
It's because they all probably went to did some kind of IR degree where you sort of have to learn some hinky theory of European integration. That's it's actually driven by actors and institutions.
You actually drink enough of the Kool-Aid that you believe ever closer union.
Yeah, I think the best way to put this into perspective for anyone who is not familiar with the stupidity of European politics, which on TF is probably not the case, but to maybe an American listening to TF, it is a party of just Pete Buttigieg's.
Mm-hmm.
That's the easiest way to describe it. They all worked literally. The party heads all worked at McKinsey & Co. Every single one of them.
Social responsibility, Greek Lives Matter.
Okay, Riley's reading the modern 5+1. When we read it back in 2019,
had a lot more slurs in it.
They genuinely had the corporate responsibilities Black Lives Matter line, except they were talking about digitalization, and then
talking about the WOGs all the time, which I really didn't appreciate, but I felt it was
about digitalization,
dated,
and
okay.
then it veered into pro-choice language.
Yeah, if you go on the computer enough, you will develop the ability to no longer become Greek.
That is right.
Hence why I don't know how a computer works. Just genetically unable to.
So they also talk about another goal is social equality. And I mean, again, these are all a quite laudable set of goals, such as stopping discrimination, alleviating sort of poverty and homelessness. But once you look at all their other goals, right, you can't take any of that seriously because like we want to alleviate poverty and homelessness, but we will do everything we can to make sure that like the big landlords in Germany get to keep all of their. We'll do anything but what works to achieve all of these laudable goals that we can all agree on, basically.
One of the big and early criticisms we had of Volt back in 2019 was that they basically have no analysis of what's happening in the individual member states of the EU.
Mm-hmm.
They are too like European EU-wide lens. So the buck wild stuff does come out when they're running nationally and they have to take positions. This is where like all the various German state elections that have happened this year so far, like in Baden-Württemberg and stuff like that, is where they have stated their opinion. They never did before, but they've stated the opinion because they've been forced to, because the politics of the country, to say, we oppose a reintroduction of a wealth tax.
Mm-hmm.
Because if anyone doesn't know, Germany's progressive tax system stops really early.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you earn
48,000 euros.
Yeah,
that's
like
the
your
top bracket, huh?
That is the top bracket, yes. It's very, very,
Yeah, like
very easy to get there.
a school teacher is taxed as much as like anyone a million times richer than them.
Yeah. And Volt is like, good, we're keeping it.
Yep.
We Germany has already attained the best. We know we need. How can we make going on the computer more of a big part of this?
Yes.
Basically.
Because they list all their donors and stuff by name, and when the name is given, classic pro tip, take the last name of that person and search Volt, and then find their son or daughter running for the party. This has worked remarkably well.
Take your kid to campaign day, essentially.
Pretty much. Absolutely.
Yeah, just creating Europe's sort of next generation of revolving door true believer neoliberals. The thing is, in the 1990s, right, this political tendency had real heft behind it. It was convincing a lot of people.
The third way.
Yeah. It was the thing.
Let's not talk about the other third way that happened in Germany.
Yeah. It was a political tendency that was a real political tendency. Like you said, it had heft. It had, it was quite, not good what it did, but it did sort of do things. It was
got heft.
It was the thing that emerged in the sort of aftermath of the end of the Cold War. Just like trying to sort of act it out again because you were excited about it and wanted to do that when you were a kid just seems sort of faintly ridiculous.
There is a sense of with the Volt people, the people who kind of make up the actual party and some of the diehard supporters, that there is a sense of failed prophecy behind this. Because the idea of the European Union not becoming this glorious federation bastion of progressive rights, then you start to ask as an individual, well, what the fuck are we doing then? What is this meant to be?
It's an economic agreement, dog. It literally is the sense of the two astronauts, the one with the gun behind it. It was always, wasn't it? Yeah.
It's always been
exactly. It's never changed. Yeah.
Yeah. It's always been the social arm of NATO.
Yeah, and there is I think it is in the sense of living in Europe long enough as a dumb American. There is a bit of the European federalism stuff that then does tickle my fancy a bit, because Europe, especially in the sense where you have things like the ECB and whatnot, things that literally can't function because there's no communicate.
This is my most liberal opinion, is the sort of the Gandhi joke about Western civilization, right? It's if we're gonna have the EU as a sort of ever closer transnational union that transcends borders and allows for a shared vision of progressivism and human rights, sounds great. When are you gonna start?
Yeah.
And if we are now currently engaged in this Cold War against China, which is deeply stupid and we shouldn't be, but if we are gonna be anyway, as it seems we are, then the only way that Europe is going to be at all relevant in that is as Europe rather than as Britain and France bickering about giving submarines to Australia. So there's your fucking realpolitik. You know?
And I think in the sense too of that, then I being a dumb American who gets to live in Germany with a European passport that is not a German passport is kind of nice, You know, like I'm not gonna bitch about it, but at the same time, it's like then there is these things like that I can understand from then. Yeah, like I mean, just the ECB is the example that I used. That then it's like I think I may like the last time I was on the show came and talked about like the sense of that the
corona
like,
bonds.
the vaccination thing that then was apparently to be done by like the European like centralized thing that then never really happened because like Angela Merkel's like way too much of like a like Europhile, and there are things and programs that like if Europe was given more authority, they'd probably exercise more efficiently than individual countries in some regard, and maybe like vaccinations aren't one of them, but like budgets and monetary policy and physical policy when you were on a common currency is probably one that then like Europe or not even just like that type of stuff, like investments and all these kind of other stuff, especially like transitioning into like a green economy. Volt never actually answers these things though. It's just it's a vibe. It's simply in the sense
it's a
of
fan
like,
club.
yeah, it's in a sense that then like we want an infinite idea then of a feel good, Erasmus party where Rob has made the joke 1,000 times on our show about getting a hand job in a foam party in Spain with like no politics behind it. Like pan-Europeanism, like at its core is like actually probably something that could like make this continent better to live on, or this like sub-Asian continent that we live on. But infinite PPPs is like gonna make this place like Berlin everywhere, or London everywhere, or wherever it is. Like I don't know.
I think most importantly, Volt in Berlin announced their manifesto as slam poetry, and that's what's really going to make change.
Well, I think that's probably as good a place as any to call it and to give the official TF endorsement for Volt.
Yeah, you can order your official TF briefcase from our website.
I'm here actually telling you to vote for, that's right, yes, the base in Germany, a.k.a.
We don't have time to explain this.
Al-Qaeda.
Al-Qaeda.
Okay, good. I thought it was going to be something of a different... Yeah, fine. That base, fine. Vote for them. Not the other one. Definitely not the other one. All right, perfect. I think, like we said, we think that's about enough time. Nick and Ciaran, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having us.
Anytime, yeah. I love being on here.
Don't forget to check out Corner Spaeti for all of your European politics needs.
Also, quick plug, Smoke Comedy, 28th of September. It's a Tuesday night.
I remember doing these.
Come to that. There's going to be a ticket link in the description. The headline is going to be Jordan Brooks, who won the Edinburgh Comedy Award the last time the Edinburgh Festival happened, which is now a while ago.
And who could say when that was?
Yeah.
Anyway.
If you're in Berlin on the 26th on election night, you should come to our live show for the election in Donaustrasse 115. There is details on our Twitter.
Yes, we will be linking that. And for all other things, great and small, of course, you can check out All Creatures Great and Small, which is going to be the kind of thing that's going to be made now by British TV, because it all has to make you feel as though you are taking a warm bath in a garage with the car on.
It ain't half trash, Mum.
All right, later, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.